She texted, "Can't come tonight." I simply replied, "Sure." That evening, I ordered dinner for two to her ex's apartment, paid under my name. The look on her face when she opened the door and the delivery guy read my name from the bag. There are moments in life when the world just shifts. One minute, you're living a dream, building a future with someone you love. The next, a single text message shatters it all, revealing a betrayal so deep, so calculated, it leaves you breathless, not with anger, but with a chilling surgical clarity. It was 5 p.m. on the dot when her text came in. Short, dismissive, brutal, "Can't make it tonight." I knew exactly where she was, though, when she typed those words. And the response I sent back? Just one word, "Sure." That "sure" was probably the most dangerous thing I've ever written. Because that night, I bought her favorite ridiculously expensive dinner for two, a lavish omake sushi platter, and had it delivered straight to her ex-boyfriend Derek's apartment. With my name on the receipt. Her name is Maya. We'd been together for a little over 2 years, and for most of that time, she'd lived in my condo. To everyone looking in, we were the perfect couple, living this enviable life. But on the inside, for me, it always felt like I was walking on eggshells, like I was constantly on probation. And the reason for that, the gaping wound in our relationship, was Derek. Derek wasn't just an ex, he was this looming shadow, a main character in the ongoing drama of her life. The one who got away, but was now supposedly her best friend. I'm not an idiot. From the very beginning, I told her I wasn't okay with it. We had the fight, the big one. She cried, accused me of being insecure, controlling, and swore on everything holy that their relationship was purely platonic. She begged me to trust her. And like a fool, I gave in. But I made it clear, I needed complete transparency. No secret phone calls. No, we just ran into each other nonsense. She agreed. For a while, it actually seemed to work. Derek became a ghost again, a faint whisper in the background of our lives. But in the last few months, that ghost started to feel a lot more solid. She'd be on her phone, a private smile playing on her lips, and when I'd ask who it was, she'd say, "Just my mom." A little too quickly. Then came the emergencies, always last minute, always requiring her to cancel our plans. A friend's car broke down. A coworker desperately needed help with a project. The excuses were always just believable enough to make me feel like a jerk for even doubting them. My gut, though, was screaming. The final cold nail in the coffin of my trust came about a month before all this blew up. We had one of those shared family phone accounts, the kind you set up for a better data plan. I was on the website, paying the bill, when I saw an option, manage location settings for the devices on the account. On a whim, I clicked it. I told myself it was for emergencies, a safety net. But deep down, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was looking for a lie. I didn't have to look for long. The very next week, she told me she was going to a late-night yoga class. I checked the location. She was at a wine bar, clear across town. The next time, she was supposedly having a girls' night at her friend Sarah's place. The little dot on the map, however, told a different story. She was 10 miles away from Sarah's, in a condo complex. Derek's condo complex. I didn't say a word. I just watched. I collected the data. And with every discovery, a cold hard knot tightened in my stomach. She wasn't just lying, she was doing it effortlessly. I started to realize I was just the guy who paid the bills, the comfortable life she could fall back on, while she test drove her old life, her old flame. By the way, if you're still with me, and if this story is hitting you like it hit me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, more unbelievable stories are coming. Last night, it was our anniversary. Not the day we met, but the day we moved in together. I'd made reservations weeks in advance at this high-end sushi restaurant, the kind of place you have to book a month out. It was her absolute favorite. She'd been talking about it all week, about how excited she was. And then, at 5 p.m., just as I was getting ready to leave work, my phone buzzed. It was her. "Hey, so sorry. My boss just dropped a huge deadline on me. I'm going to be stuck at the office all night. Can't make it tonight. We'll celebrate this weekend, I promise." I didn't even hesitate. I opened the location app. The little blue dot that represented her wasn't at her office building. It was sitting right on top of Derek's condo. And it had been there since she'd left for work that morning. The lie was so blatant, So utterly disrespectful that I didn't even feel angry. Just a profound, chilling clarity washed over me. This was it. The end. But it wasn't going to be a screaming match. Oh no. It was going to be quiet, precise, and absolutely unforgettable. I texted her back one word. Sure. I went home to my empty condo. I sat on the couch for a long time, just thinking. I thought about the 2 years I had invested, the trust one had so freely given, the future I genuinely believed we were building. And then I thought about how to end it. I could have just packed her bags and left them by the door. But that wasn't enough. She needed to be exposed. She needed to be caught, not by me directly, but by the undeniable consequences of her own choices. I picked up my phone and opened the food delivery app. I found the sushi restaurant, the very one we were supposed to go to. I ordered their most expensive omakase platter for 2. It came with premium sake. The total was obscene, well over $300. Then, I typed in the delivery address, Derek's condo. I knew the exact address, even the unit number, thanks to my quiet research. In the delivery instructions, I added a note, please make sure the recipient knows this is from Ben. It's for our anniversary. I put my name Ben on the order and paid for it with our joint credit card, the one I knew she got notifications for. Then I sat back and waited. I imagined the scene. The doorbell rings. She opens it, probably expecting Derek's takeout. Instead, she finds a delivery guy holding T.'s giant, elaborate bag of the best sushi in the city. She's confused. Then, the delivery guy reads my name off the bag. My name. The look on her face when she realized what I had done, that I knew exactly where she was, that I had just paid for her and her ex-boyfriend's romantic anniversary dinner. That, right there, was the revenge. It wasn't loud. It was a quiet, perfectly aimed shot that would detonate her entire world. About 45 minutes later, my phone started to explode. First, a notification from the credit card app, confirming the charge. Then, the calls started. First from her. I ignored it. Then from a number I didn't recognize. Ignored that too. Then a text from her, how could you? I didn't reply. Another text, you're a psycho. Are you stalking me? Still nothing from me. Then the final desperate barrage, we need to talk. Please answer the phone. It's not what you think. I just turned my phone on silent. I knew she'd be home eventually. The quiet condo, once a symbol of our life together, now felt like a fortress. My fortress. And she was about to find out she was no longer welcome inside. She showed up around 11 p.m. I watched on my doorbell camera as she fumbled with her key, her hands visibly shaking. She must have known what was coming. The door opened, and she stood there, looking at me, sitting calmly on the couch. We need to talk, she said, her voice tight. No, we don't, I replied, my voice steady, almost detached. I think the sushi said everything that needed to be said. You had no right, she screamed, her composure cracking. You embarrassed me in front of Derek. He thinks you're a crazy jealous monster. Does he? I asked, a slight cold smile touching my lips. Or does he finally realize that the woman he's sleeping with has a live-in boyfriend who just bought them dinner? I'm sure that was an interesting conversation for you too. Her face crumpled. The anger was just a thin cover for her panic. It was a mistake, she whimpered, tears finally starting to flow. I was confused. Derek and I, we have history. I was going to tell you. No, you weren't, I interrupted, standing up. You were going to keep lying, keep living your double life, and keep using my home and my money as your safety net. That's over. Your things are in the spare room. They're not packed. I'm not doing that for you. You have until noon tomorrow to get every single item that belongs to you out of this condo. If it's still here at 12:01, it's going in the dumpster. She just stared at me, her mouth hanging open. You can't just kick me out. I live here. No, you don't, I said, the finality in my voice like a gavel. Your name isn't on the lease. You've been a guest here for 2 years, and you have officially overstayed your welcome. The next morning was a tense, miserable circus. She didn't have anywhere to go, so she'd called her parents. They showed up around 10 a.m., and they were not happy. Her father, a big imposing man who had always been so friendly to me, looked at me with pure disdain. Her mother immediately started in on me. "I cannot believe you would treat our daughter this way," she cried, "after everything she's done for you, turning this sterile apartment into a home." I just looked at her, utterly calm. "With all due respect, your daughter has been lying to me and cheating on me with her ex-boyfriend for months. I just bought them a $300 anniversary dinner at his apartment last night. You should be more concerned about her choices than my reaction to them." That shut them up for a minute. They clearly hadn't gotten the full story from Maya, just the version where I was the villain. They helped her pack in a tense, angry silence. As they were loading the last box into their car, Maya's father walked up to me. "You'll regret this, son," he said, his voice low and menacing. "She's the best thing that ever happened to you." I just shook my head. "No, sir. Getting rid of her is." After they were gone, the first thing I did was go through every account I had. I closed our joint credit card. I removed her as an authorized user on my other cards. I changed every password to every account we had ever shared. Then I went to the bank and cleaned out our joint savings account, which was mostly my money anyway, and moved it into a new private account. The silence that followed was a profound relief, but I knew it was just the calm before the storm. The storm arrived 2 days later, not from Maya, but from Derek. He showed up at my condo unannounced on a Sunday afternoon. I saw him on the doorbell camera before he even buzzed. He looked absolutely furious. I let him stew on my doorstep for a minute before I answered. "We need to talk," he demanded, trying to push past me into my home. I blocked the doorway. "No, we don't. You and I have nothing to talk about," I told him, my voice flat. "You blew up my life, man," he yelled, his voice shaking with anger. "You think that was funny, sending that dinner? Do you have any idea what you've done?" "I have a pretty good idea of what Maya did," I shot back. "And it seems like you were a part of it. That's not my problem." "Not your problem," he scoffed, his face incredulous. "I have a girlfriend. A serious, live-in girlfriend of 3 years. Her name is Jessica. And guess what? She was at my apartment when your little anniversary gift showed up. She saw the note. She saw everything. Jessica left me. She took everything. So yeah, this is your problem now." I'll admit, I hadn't seen that coming. I thought Derek was just a single guy playing the field. The idea that he was in his own long-term relationship made Maya's actions even more despicable. "So, you're both cheaters," I said, a wry bitterness in my tone. "Sounds like a you problem." "This is your fault," he insisted, getting more agitated. "Maya told me you two were basically over, that you were just roommates and she was moving out. She said you were a controlling jerk. If you hadn't sent that dinner, I could have handled it, but you put me on blast." He took a step closer. "You're going to fix this. You're going to call Jessica and explain that you're the crazy ex." I just laughed. The sheer audacity was incredible. "Let me get this straight," I said, shaking my head. "You and my ex-girlfriend were cheating on both me and your girlfriend. I exposed it. And now you want me to lie to your ex to cover your tracks? Get off my property." I started to close the door, but he put his hand out to stop it. "You're going to regret this," he threatened. I didn't say a word. I just pulled out my phone and made sure he could see that I was recording him. His hand dropped from the door instantly, and the tough guy act melted away. He just stood there for a second, completely deflated, then turned and stalked off. The next phase of Maya's attack was financial. A few days later, I got a fraud alert from my bank. It was for a card I had completely forgotten about, an old department store card that we had opened together to buy a couch. I was the primary account holder, but she had a card. She had tried to buy over $2,000 worth of gift cards online. The bank system flagged the unusual activity and declined it. I spent an hour on the phone with the fraud department, explaining the situation, closing the account, and filing a report. It was just another piece of evidence in my growing file against her. Then came the smear campaign, just as I expected. But this time, it had a new twist. It wasn't just me being portrayed as the crazy, jealous ex. Derek, in a desperate attempt to win back his own girlfriend, had apparently joined forces with Maya. The story they were telling was that I was a violent stalker who had been harassing them both for months, and that the sushi delivery was just the latest in a long line of unhinged acts. It might have worked, if not for an unexpected email I received a week later. The sender was Jessica, Derek's ex-girlfriend. She said she had gotten my email address from a mutual acquaintance who had heard the rumors and thought I deserved to know the truth. She wanted to meet. We met for coffee the next day. She was a smart, no-nonsense woman who was clearly heartbroken, but not broken. She had a story to tell, and she had receipts. She showed me texts from Derek going back months, where he complained about Maya being a needy psycho but said he couldn't get rid of her. Then she showed me other texts, directly from Maya to Derek, where Maya talked about her plan to get a nice settlement from me when she finally left, and how she was just waiting for the right time. It was all there in black and white, a calculated, premeditated plan to use me, bleed me dry, and then move on. Jessica had been doing her own digging since she left Derek, and she had uncovered the whole rotten scheme. He's a coward and a liar, she said, her voice steady despite the pain, but she is something else entirely. She's a predator. I don't want her to get away with this. If you need me to, I will sign a sworn affidavit. I will testify in court. I want her to face the consequences for what she's done to both of us. Armed with this new ammunition, I was ready for Maya's final move. It came in the form of a letter from a lawyer. It was full of baseless accusations, demanding financial support, claiming emotional distress, and threatening to sue for a portion of my assets. My lawyer's response was swift and brutal. It not only refuted all of her claims, citing the fact that she was never on the lease, but it also included a few attachments. Exhibit A was a transcript of the recording of Derek threatening me on my doorstep. Exhibit B was the bank's report on her attempted credit card fraud. And Exhibit C was a signed, notarized affidavit from Jessica, complete with the most damning text messages from Maya outlining her plan to extort me. The letter concluded by stating that if Maya did not immediately retract all of her claims and cease all contact, my client would be filing a multi-pronged lawsuit for harassment, defamation, and conspiracy to commit fraud, and that we would be seeking full legal costs. We never heard from her lawyer again. It's been 6 months now. The silence from Maya and her family has been absolute. I heard through the grapevine that her parents, utterly shamed, are making her pay back every cent she ever took from our joint accounts. Derek's life is a complete mess. Jessica, true to her word, never went back to him, and the story of his and Maya's affair made him a pariah in their social circle. Last I heard, Maya is living in a tiny apartment on the worst side of town, working a temp job, and drowning in debt. She didn't just lose a boyfriend that night. She lost the comfortable, luxurious life she took for granted. And she was exposed, utterly and completely, as the user and the fraud she truly was. Sometimes, the quietest revenge is the loudest. What would you have done in my place? Or, even better, have you ever had to expose someone who thought they were getting away with something? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to know.